I hope all of y'all are amazing. So, I just finished a mastermind, and two of the speakers that were speaking to today, they are a strong couple who are building a business. And so today they talked about how to build relationships. And so the training, hey, how you doing? The training was like, it was some good information. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna share this with y'all because at the end of the day, I know I've mentioned it before, but I also have been hearing it a lot. At the end of the day, we cannot do anything without other people. On planet Earth, we have to connect and work together to get anything done. So there's no self-made anything. Like it's all about building relationships, loving on each other, helping each other, being there for each other. So I wanted to share with y'all what I learned. And the trainers today, their names were Luna and Steven. So let's get into it. So pretty much today they shared 8 strategies to build relationships. Hey girl, how you doing? So 8 strategies to build relationships. So they said by following these 8 strategies, you can become more effective in building stronger relationships with people. So and there's no particular order, but I'm just gonna go in the order that I'm looking at. So normally in any relationship, but I think like they were more talking about like brand new relationships and specifically in business. How you been? But more specifically in business. But you can, like, at the end of the day, whether it's a personal relationship or whether it's a professional relationship, we can always improve in our relationships. So what I'm saying is for mainly a new relationship. Let's just clarify that, because some of this it just sounds just like, but it's my kid, you know what I mean? But so we're gonna just talk from a point of brand new relationship. So number one, first impression. How do you build a first impression? So at the end of the day, when you meet somebody, you're gonna have a first impression, but normally it's not based on what you look like. A lot of the times it's, how did you make that person feel? Like, what characteristic of yourself, because we are multi-dimensional beings. And I want to say, even though I am like using their training, this is also like my personal interpretation too. So they didn't say all of this, but they did, give me the meat of the training. But first impressions, we all have our first impressions of people. And so I think at the end of the day, because someone had mentioned that, well, some of the relationships in their business or in their life, a lot of people are intimidated by them. And and so they asked, like why are people intimidated by you? And the lady responded, she said, because I guess she gives off like bossy vibes. And so what they said, will, people, everybody's going to have their first impression of you, and that's totally okay. Hey T, how you doing? That's totally okay. But at the end of the day, as long as you are living your life authentically and you are expressing your intention, so even if you are a bossy person in this lady's example, um if your intention is like, caring for others, taking care of others, and like not trying to control them or boss them, then you're totally okay. But because you want to be, at the end of the day, you still want to be your most true self. You don't want to build relationships and you're not authentic to who you are. You still want to be yourself. But if you're being yourself, and even if it rubs somebody wrong, just make sure you're doing it from a place of love, and you are expressing your intention. So number one is first impressions. Lead your first impressions with your intention on what you want in the relationship. Hey, how you doing? Number two is, again, this is like building relationships, new relationships, but use social media effectively. It's so funny. And y'all know I be all up in y'all DMs because I really want to know like who I'm attracting and why I'm attracted. And mainly because at the end of the day, I think, with all the personal development that I do, I'm learning that, at the end of the day, I think there's 2 things. Number one, um, again, there's nothing that we can do by ourselves. We need people. We need to have relationships. And there may be something that I'm super good at. that I can help you with, and then there may be something that you're super good at that you can help me with. Or even if maybe we can't help each other, but maybe somebody else has something that you need, or you have something that somebody else needs, and it's all about connecting and helping each other, because we're all on this planet Earth. So why not help each other maximize our life while we're here, right? So I love connecting with people. I love networking with people, but it's so interesting when I slide in some people DM, like they don't talk to me. And for a while I was like, oh my gosh, like, am I the weird one? Hey, how you doing? So many people. And I see somebody, I can't tell if it's YouTube or Facebook, but how y'all doing? Definitely let me know where y'all watching from. But I thought it was weird, because I'm like, I know, like, if we're attracting each other on social media, shouldn't we be like having a conversation and getting to know each other? And the funny thing is, I'm not even an extrovert, but I think, like, especially like during the pandemic, I was like, I wanted to have relationships and I wanted to talk to people, but we couldn't go outside at the time. So the second strategy is to use social media effectively. If you want more relationships, or you want to be in a community around different types of people, like start following those accounts, get in those Facebook groups, start following hashtags of your interest, so you can start having genuine relationships with people that you actually want to have relationships with, if that makes sense. So use social media effectively, and don't be, and I was too for a while, y'all, but don't be afraid to talk to people on social media. Number one is, like I said, it's all about us connecting. But number two, there's so many lonely people in this world. There's so many lonely people in this world. And, I hope I don't mess this up with y'all, but I make it like my business, like, to try to tell people happy birthday every day, or, like, just say, hey, try to compliment people, because there's so many lonely people in this world. And if we just talk to each other, a lot of that could be negated. And believe it or not, it's just, y'all, don't be mad at, how things are in this on this planet. But one of our natural instincts is to be social creatures. Like, we even from the beginning of times, like, we were in tribes and in packs. Like, that's just our nature. So living a lonely life, that's why a lot of people, I'm getting off track, but like, are unhappy or depressed or whatever, because they aren't socializing. Like, that's actually a pillar that we should be striving to improve, not just physical health or mental health, emotional health. Those are important too, but also being able to communicate and have a relationship with other human beings is super important. So one of the strategies, the second strategy that I mentioned to build relationships, is to use social media effectively. Talk to people on social media. Number three is focus on the quality of your relationships and not the quantity. Because at the end of the day, just kind of what I was saying, you may be feeling like you're talking a lot. You may be feeling like you have a lot of relationships, but if they aren't genuine, if you're not getting fulfilled with those relationships, I mean, maybe you need to decrease the time that you're spending in those relationships and focus on the quality of people, like the people who have similar values, similar interests, people who are pushing you or encouraging you, or inspiring you to go for your goal. The quality of your relationship is more important than how many people. Like, y'all, we grown. This ain't no popularity game. It's about having genuine, deep connections with people that we actually want to be around, people that we actually want to care about. So have be open to accept and build genuine quality based relationships, versus saying I got all these friends and all these people in my life. Number 4 is relevant message. And this is kind of what I was saying before. You want to make sure you are hey, how you doing? Kamari. You want to make sure that, going back, this is kind of like a combination of them, but you want to make sure that your relationship is, y'all are speaking on the same frequency, right? You don't want to have a relationship that is not, I heard this like 2 weeks ago. A lot of people say relationships are supposed to be 50-50, but that is not true. That is like not true. Every relationship, especially your intimate relationship, but every relationship that we're in, it needs to be 100% and 100%. Like we need to be given 100% in the relationships that we care about and that we want to cultivate and that we want to keep. So relevant message. I hope that this makes sense. But you don't want to be in a relationship where you are, let me think of something. Let me think of something top of my head. You're looking for, I guess, companionship, right? Like you just want a good friend that you can confide in and, like someone who you can feel safe around. But then they just only they only want your friendship for lunch. Like they don't want to get too deep. They just need somebody to um only have lunch. So they only, you know what I'm saying? And you can have a relationship, again, the quality of your relationship, it can be multi-layered. But if they only want to spend that, they only need you to be their lunch buddy, but you're looking for like that deep best friend companionship, y'all messaging is off. And that's probably why you're like, man, something's missing. I mean, I like her, but something, you know what I'm saying? So y'all want to make sure like the relationship that you're building, it doesn't need to be any misleading the person in the relationship. It doesn't need to be any you know what I mean, like tricking the person, because at the end of the day, um you just want to make sure you have the same relevant message in all your relationships. Okay, let's keep going. Let me see what's next. Um, so the fifth strategy to build relationships is learn to listen and listen to learn. And one of the quotes that I think the speaker mentioned, she said that, when you are speaking in a conversation, normally when you're speaking in a conversation, you are just telling what you already know. But when you are listening in a conversation, you are learning something new, right? So we all know this. We all want to be heard, and that's kind of going back to one of the points that I made previously. A lot of us feel so alone, and a lot of, I know even from my little therapy sessions, y'all, is just we feeling misunderstood or feeling like I'm not heard. And it's just like it gets frustrating, and you're like, I know I make perfect sense, but I think the more that we learn to be more, like actually caring and listening to other people, I think the and they even said that the stronger our relationships will become. Like when we're in conversation with somebody, like actually listen to what they're saying and don't just try to get to the conversation to be heard, because you're just telling them what you know. But in relationship, again, if we're both giving 100%, right? We're both giving 100%. We're learning about each other. Okay. The next way is always follow up. So and even in your relationship that you with the friends and your family, they said, when you first meet somebody, that's about 5% of the relationship. But you build a genuine relationship in the 95% of following up. So even if it's I don't know, a sibling, you've been with your sibling normally for your entire life. And we are all our individual beings, so we're always getting different experiences, or we're having different thoughts, or just different, we're all on our individual journey. So every time re-engage with somebody, even if no matter how close you feel like y'all are, follow up with, again, with that listening, with that openness to really hear and learn what that person is, where that person is in that journey. It's not all about like, oh well, shoot, you my brother, or you're my mom, or you're my whoever, I know you. No, you don't know what experience or what breakthrough this person is experiencing in their journey that may be molding them to somebody who you don't know yet, if that makes sense. So when you're following up with people, following up means just like keeping in touch with people, keeping the relationship going, staying in conversation. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to talk to the person every day, every week, but at least, checking on a person, and, as they're going through their milestones in life, whether it may be graduating or birthday or whatever it may be, just trying to keep the relationship open, because again, we all, even if we say, oh no, da 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 da, we say all these things to try to, keep ourselves safe. But we all, it's important that we are seen and heard and checked on. All right. The next one is be present, avoid multitasking. So in relationships, it's super important, especially like it's one thing to be like in a group setting, but if you are really working to build genuine relationships, you want to be present with that person. And I know I ain't gonna lie, y'all, over the past year, I'm like, I need to be more present. I need to be more present. But and just going back to what they said, learn to listen is a lot of times it's those subtle things that we don't hear when we're not 100% present and paying attention, right? Not that you need a notebook and pen, pen like every time you're talking to somebody, but really, be present with that person. And a lot of people do, well, I'm going to say 25% of the people do enjoy quality time. So make sure when you are in conversation, or you are, spending time with people, really be present with them and don't multitask. So and we all guilty of it. It's so easy to just our phone vibrate or ring real quick and somebody's talking and we're like, yeah, I'm listening. Guilty, right? So guilty. But just try to be more mindful. If somebody's talking, like literally be present and spend that moment with them. The last strategy to build relationships, y'all, is prepare to facilitate conversations. So I'm not gonna lie, I forgot exactly what they said about that one. Maybe I wasn't present. No, hold on. Why does it prepare to facilitate conversation? So pretty much, I guess, if you really want to build in your relationships, like I guess kind of like and I'll just use the first example that I use. Like if somebody sends me a friend request on social media, or if somebody, like if I see something on the timeline, I'm literally going to engage with you and talk to you, like until you unfollow me. And I'm like, okay, you don't want to be my friend, but like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to lead the conversation. I mean, it's the reason why y'all connected. And sometimes, you need to have that conversation to realize, okay, maybe we not what I thought we were. And that's totally okay. We're all on our own journey, but do not be afraid to facilitate and, even speak up and say, hey, this is what I need from this relationship. Where you at? You know what I'm saying? And y'all can talk and y'all can work through that. So y'all, those were the 8 strategies to build relationships. I am curious. Hey, Sandra, how you doing? I am curious. Number 1, what strategy did I mention today? Which one stood out to you the most? And also, are there any other strategies that you're currently using that's working really well for you to build your relationships? Definitely let me know in the comments below. But y'all, those are the 8 strategies to build relationships. And if y'all like this type of like training, because I love going to these masterminds and I learn so much, and I just want to like share some of the information that I'm learning. Okay. Love bears all gifts said, listen was her favorite one. I agree. I like that one's so important too. And like I said, the quote that they said is super important. We need to learn to listen, right? So yeah, y'all continue to have the conversation in the chat, and I will see y'all in the next video. Have a great day.